Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about the 2022 Complete BMX bikes from Cult. We're going to be talking about their 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20-inch models and all of the different varieties that they offer, starting with the 20-inch bikes. And then later on, we'll be talking about the 12s through the 18s. We're going to go from lowest price to highest price. And let's first take a look at the Access here in black. As you can see here, it is in black and in raw. And if you take a look at their site here, you can see that all of their bikes are listed individually, even with the colors here. So it looks like there's a ton of different options here, but it's just the colors being listed as well. So the Access bike can be had for $360, and it says a perfect entry-level bike for a beginner at a nice price. So there is no mention of what the material is on the frame for this one, but you can assume at a $360 price tag, it is high tensile steel. It's got a 20-inch flat top tube frame with 9-inch two-piece bars, Heaven's Gate Beacon grips. It's got a top load stem on it. You can see that it has an integrated headset on it as well. It's got the Cult nylon pedals. It does have chromoly 3-piece cranks that are 170 millimeters and a sealed mid bottom bracket, which is really good at this price point. It's got the Cult 410 chain. It's got a 9-tooth cassette hub. It doesn't say anything about it being sealed or not, but what it does have are the Cult match rims. And while I can't find the info on the original version of these rims, which I don't know if these are the V2 or the original version, but the V2 of these are welded seamed double walled rims. So if it does have the V2 rims on here, they're welded seamed double walled rims, which is kind of a big deal, especially at this price point. But I get the feeling that it's possible that these are the original Cult match rims, which I can't find too much info about them other than the fact that they are double walled rims. So that is really good even at this price point as well. It's got the 25-tooth sprocket on it, 2.4-inch tires. It's got a 990 U-brake on here, all black, everything, 26 pounds. Bike ships partially assembled in box. So that being said, what's the value on this bike? For $360, we are getting a bike with an integrated headset, mid-bottom bracket, chromoly cranks, double-walled rims, and honestly, it looks high quality even just looking at this bike. So that being said, we do have the gold standard for things to compare things to, because it seems that Kink's Complete BMX bikes have just the best value that you can get in a complete bike. So let's take a look at Kink's comparable model at the price point of $360. So coming in at just $10 more is the Kink Curb for $370. If we take a look at these pictures here and zoom in, you can see that this bike doesn't actually have an integrated headset, which is a difference to take note of. Now let's scroll down here to the specs and take a look here. So this one also has tubular chromoly 3-piece cranks, but this one has an unsealed American bottom bracket. It does have a semi-sealed cassette hub, but it's an unsealed front hub. Then we take a look at the rims, the Mission X7 rims, which are single-walled rims. This means that the Cult Access bike for $360 is actually a really great value for your money. You're getting improvements over the Kink Curb, which is $10 more even. So I think that that is pretty awesome. It's cool to see the value coming in here from Cult. So that is the first bike from Cult. It's also available in raw, as we said, same price. Now let's take a look at the next 20-inch bike, which is the Gateway. It's available in black, blue, teal, and raw. And the black one, as we see here when we pull it up, actually has camo tires on it. So this one comes in at $430. It has a 20.5-inch top tube with a chromoly front triangle on the frame, so a definite improvement there. It's got 9-inch two-piece bars. The parts appear to be very similar. These are heat-treated chromoly, 3-piece 170 millimeter cranks as well. Same sealed mid-bottom bracket, integrated headset, same chain. But this time, we have a sealed front hub and a sealed rear 9-tooth cassette hub. Once again, Cult match rims, same sprocket, same seat, same tires, same brakes. So we're seeing sealed front and rear hubs as an upgrade here. That's pretty awesome. I think that for this value, we once again need to compare it to the Kink offering here because they do seem to have good value with their bikes. But as we're seeing with these cult bikes, there may be value spread out in BMX as to what's the best bang for your buck at different price levels. So when we take a look at the prices here on Kink's Completes, there's actually two different ones that the Gateway falls between. The Launch at $410 and the Gap at $450. It's $20 from either of these. So to be on the safe side, first let's take a look at the Launch at $410 and see the specs on this one. This one has a 100% high tensile steel frame, but it does have a chromoly steer tapered fork. That's an improvement there. High tensile steel bars, same thing there. Let's take a look at the other parts. We have the same rims, so double walled rims on the Gateway versus single on this one. Semi-sealed cassette hub, sealed one on the Gateway. It's got an unsealed front hub. The Gateway has a sealed. So as we're seeing, there are improvements here, but this one does have a sealed mid-bottom bracket. It does have an integrated headset. So there are definite comparisons to be made here, but for just $20 more, you can get sealed hubs, which is a huge improvement, and double wall rims. Your whole entire wheel set is basically better on the Gateway for $20 more. I definitely think that is worth it at that point, and it has the chromoly front triangle on the frame. It doesn't say anything about the forks on the Gateway, so we don't really know there, but I think that the improvements over the Launch on this one are definitely worth the $20 more. Save $20 and buy the Gateway if you can, and you will get a better value because one, you're not going to have to true your wheels as often with double walled rims, and you can rely on them more and they can just take more abuse. And two, the sealed hubs on both front and rear are going to last much longer and be maintenance free compared to the unsealed. So what about the Gap? This one is $20 more than the Gateway. And what do the specs on this one offer? So we see same cranks, integrated headset, mid-bottom bracket. This one has a sealed cassette hub, so that is the same, but it still has the same Mission X7 single-walled rims. It does have an unsealed front hub, so that's a definite comparison to be made, but there are differences here in that the bars are 100% chromoly on this one. The forks have the chromoly steer tube, but the frame has the same front triangle that is chromoly. So for $20 more, you're getting an unsealed front hub, single walled rims, and you're getting a chromoly handlebar. You're getting chromoly steer tube forks as well. We don't know on the Gateway what the forks are. So I think for $20 more, I might still suggest the Gateway being $20 less, where you get the sealed front and rear hub and double walled rims. And I already talked about the advantages of that. So for $20 less than this one, I think you're still getting a better value, which is so awesome to see from Cult. You do have all of the color options that I listed, and real quickly we can take a look at all of those just so you can see them. So this is the teal, this is the blue. As you can see, the teal has camo tires on it. The blue is a similar color to the teal, but it is different, but it has black tires. And then the raw is raw with black tires, and it looks like these might be the Cult Vans tires. Yes, 2.4 Cult Vans tires. Those are aftermarket tires. So once again, the value here can't be denied. So let's move up a tier in price and talk about the Control from Cult. This is where things get pretty exciting, at least in my eyes. So this is a 20.75 inch top tube frame and is 100% chromoly. The handlebars are chromoly, two-piece bars. It's got the same grips. It's got the Cult Forged Salvation V5 top load stem. It's got integrated headset, same pedals. It's got heat treated chromoly 3-piece 170mm cranks, same cranks as all of the other bikes. Sealed bottom bracket, same chain, sealed front hub, sealed cassette hub, Cult match rims, same sprocket, same tires, same removable U-brake. This one actually says removable, so maybe there's removable mounts on this one as well, which could be an upgrade here. But what we're seeing is 100% chromoly frame and handlebars. Still, we get no mention of the forks here. I don't know if this is just a mistake and that it was accidentally left out, but it is information that we may want to have. But This right here, if the forks are chromoly, is the bottom level for what I recommend in a complete bike for anyone. Now, I will go through my same disclaimer that I always go through, in that when we're talking about real BMX riding, trying to jump off the ground, learn tricks, go to the skate park, ride in the streets, ride in the trails, ride a vert ramp, whatever it might be, where you're actually trying to learn tricks and improve and progress in BMX, this is the bottom level. Chromoly everything, sealed front and rear hubs with double walled rims and chromoly cranks. That's the bottom line. Because at this level, a chromoly frame is going to have an integrated headset and a mid-bottom bracket, and this is what is going to last the longest for you when you're actually putting it through some abuse and learning how to ride. And at $500, when we compare it to Kink's $500 model, which is their whip, and what I thought was the best value complete BMX bike in all of BMX, it appears that there's two best value complete BMX bikes in all of BMX. And that's just really cool to see, honestly. The value, once again, cannot be denied. The main difference here, which is something that we really just don't know, and it might not be a difference at all, is that we just don't know if the Control has chromoly forks on it. So that being said, at $500, it comes right in there, up with the whip, competes in value, and I think that I could fully recommend this bike as long as the forks are chromoly, and even if they're not, at $500 compared to other bikes that are out there, you could get chromoly forks and upgrade these first and have yourself a bike that should be pretty good for you. So that being said, now we can move on to the next complete bike, which is actually the highest price 20-inch complete bike from Colt, and that is the Devotion. First, real quick, I forgot about talking about colors. So we actually have two different colors of the Control that are available. We have raw and black. We were taking a look at the black, but just in case, let's take a look at both. So raw and black, as you would expect, the only differences are the colors. So now let's take a look at the Devotion, which there are a couple colors available here, $570. It looks like two of them are sold out right now, but there is the black, there's the blue, and there's the Panza white, which has the blue fade on it with the pink stickers, all for $570. So let's take a look at the specs on this one. 100% chromoly frame that is 21 inches on the top tube, 100% chromoly fork, which leads me to believe that the Control might not be. But that being said, it's got 100% chromoly 4-piece handlebar, same stem, integrated headset. This has the DAC pedals on it. Chromoly 3-piece 175 millimeter cranks, which I really can't tell. We need to open the image in a new tab. It looks like they might be 48 spline, but they also might not be. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they're probably pinch bolt. Sealed mid and bottom bracket, same thing. It's got a sealed front female hub, which is an upgrade. It's got a sealed 9-tooth cassette hub, same thing. It's got the Colt match rims, but this time it's got the alloy member sprocket. It's got the same tires, same brakes. They are removable. So what are we getting an upgrade here? The pedals, it's got a female front hub. It's got an alloy sprocket. Also, the chromoly fork on here. So for $70 more, I do think that this is probably worth it in an upgrade, and I can go back and say that the Control probably has high tensile steel forks, which does still make the whip a better value overall because it does have 100% chromoly forks. But even so, the fact that the Control gets this close is really awesome to see, and the Devotion really isn't that far off. And what I would say is that if you want a Colt bike and you want Colt parts on your bike and you want to support Colt, the Devotion is not that far off from the whip, and it could be worth that $70 extra for you. And I don't think that you would be making a huge mistake by buying the Devotion over the whip because the value is pretty close. It's not a giant difference there. So all in all, good value from Colt. That is awesome to see. I love it. I do wish that there was just a bit more information, maybe the geometry of the frame, also what the material of the forks and handlebars and frames are on the bikes that don't mention it, that would be helpful as well. That being said, there's still some more bikes to talk about here. So let's start with the 12-inch Juvenile. This thing is available in blue and black. It's $360. And when we take a look at this thing, can you believe that a 12-inch bike in 2022 has an integrated headset on it? Yes, look close here. Integrated headset on a 12-inch bike with the normal size fork and handlebars, or not handlebars, but normal size fork and headset and everything. So awesome. It's got upgraded geometry with a 13.25 inch top tube and a lightweight aluminum frame, which is good that it mentions it here. It's got a short rear end, it says. It's got mini Colt D-Heart grips, a front load stem, chromoly cranks that are 92 millimeters, a sealed mid bottom bracket. Like, this bike goes all out. I haven't looked at the specs yet. This bike is sick. 9-tooth cassette hub, Colt 410 chain. This is awesome. 25-tooth member style sprocket. It's got the 2.2-inch Colt Vans camo tires on it and a caliper handbrake. All black everything with green camo tires. 14 pounds. So ultimately, this bike seems awesome. But to really tell, let's take a look at the 12-inch bike from Kink. At $250, it does not have an integrated headset. It does not have 3-piece cranks. It does have a front load stem, which is good, but it's $100 less, $110 less. So for that $110, I would think that you would expect to be getting something that is probably a bit more improved. You should expect to get something for your money. And in all honesty, I think the thought is here. I think the geometry is probably here in that they're pointing it out and using it as a marketing factor. And it's just ultimately a better bike because it costs more. Let's take a look at the bottom bracket. Does it say unsealed American bottom bracket? So, I mean, there's a lot of improvements there. A lot. And I think it's awesome. Colt is just doing an awesome job with their complete bikes these days. I hadn't taken a look at these until right now. So let's take a look at the blue, just so you guys can see it. Blue, everything else should be exactly the same. Now let's move up to talking about their 14-inch bike. This one is $370. So real quickly before we go into the specs, let's just take a look at all of the different options. So here's silver, here's black with black and gray camo tires, here's black with black, red, and gray tires, camo, and pink. I feel like the pink is probably also because they're trying to cater to potentially younger girl shredders out there, or just anyone who wants pink, but Colt seems to be doing an amazing job here. So the 14-inch Juvenile, $370. It's got the same material frame, 6061 aluminum, upgraded geometry with a 14.5-inch top tube, short rear end. It says it also has an integrated headset, the mini Colt D-Heart grips, top load stem this time. It's got a chromoly 112 millimeter 3-piece cranks, sealed mid bottom bracket. It's got the 9-tooth cassette hub once again, same sprocket, same seat, 2.2 Colt Vans tires once again, and a caliper handbrake once again. This bike seems legit. Let's compare. Does Kink have a 14? Yes. They have the pump, which actually comes in at $40 less. You can see here that it does not have the integrated headset. It's got the unsealed American bottom bracket. This one actually does have 990 brakes on it, so there is some considerations to make if you were going to buy this 14-inch bike from Colt, in that you could go somewhere else and get a 990 brake, which is like other BMX brakes, conventional brakes that are on BMX bikes. What else do we have here? What's it say? High tensile steel frame, so this is going to be heavier. And when I talk about recommendations, my recommendations for a 20-inch bike and someone who's trying to really learn how to ride BMX, and a 12, 14, 16, or 18-inch bike and someone who's really trying to learn how to ride BMX are a little bit different. Mainly because someone who's riding a 20-inch bike is naturally going to be bigger to fit that bike than someone who's riding any of these smaller bikes. Bigger versus smaller. Smaller is lighter usually, and that usually means that less force is being put on these bikes. That's why they can be made out of aluminum and be okay. So that being said, unless you're like elite level 14-inch bike rider, you're not going to have to worry quite as much as someone who is adult size riding a 20-inch bike with the amount of stress that you're putting on it. That's why I can recommend bikes like this to people who are really trying to learn how to ride, because the force that they're putting on them is different. That's why they make them this way. And once again, if you're buying one of these bikes for someone who's just riding around the driveway, I don't necessarily think that a $400 complete bike that's 14 inches is something you're going to be looking at anyways. You can get away with buying a bike at Walmart for your kid who's just riding in circles in your driveway. These recommendations are for people who are really trying to ride BMX and learn how to ride, not just ride in circles or take bike rides on the street. So that being said, there is some considerations that you could make here, and there's some upgrades that are definitely in the juvenile. If you don't want to have to deal with unsealed bearings at all, the juvenile is definitely worth taking a look at for only $40 more than the pump from Kink. But if you want those normal 990 brakes, well, this is one you might consider. It's trade-offs that we have to look at, and the fact that there are trade-offs on 14-inch bikes in 2022 is just, how rad is that? The fact that there's options is awesome. So let's move on to talking about the next complete bike from Cult. That would be the 16-inch, and I accidentally showed the 16-inch already. So the black with the red tires and the pink was actually the 16-inch bikes. So there's only two colors of the 14. That's silver and black with the black, gray, and white camo tires. Let's take a look at the black juvenile. We already looked at it. The pink. Now let's take a look at the specs on this. It's got a aluminum frame, just like the previous. It's got upgraded geometry, 16.5-inch top tube, short rear end, integrated headset, same grips. It's got a top load stem again. Chromoly cranks, 3-piece again. These ones are 127 millimeters, same sealed bottom bracket, same chain, same cassette, same. This one says Cult match rims on it. I would assume those are double walled. That's awesome. Same sprocket, same seat and post. I'm assuming 2.3-inch tires this time, the Cult Vans tires, and the 990 U-brake is here as well. 18 pounds on this one, $380. Once again, I'm assuming the value is here, but let's take a look in comparison. The Carve 16-inch from Kink. This one is $399. So it's $30 more, but what do we get for that $30? We're getting high tensile steel frame, so it's going to be heavier, but it's got a chromoly steer tube fork, high tensile steel bars, doesn't say on those bars, sealed integrated headset, so same thing there. It has a sealed mid bottom bracket, so same thing there. It's got single walled rims, the Mission X7, semi-sealed cassette, unsealed front hub. We don't get that information, so we can assume that they're unsealed on the Cult. It comes in at over 4 pounds more though. So that's a definite consideration to make if you're really trying to learn how to ride, because at the size of someone who's riding a 16-inch bike, you may not be strong enough yet to maneuver a bike that weighs over 4 pounds more than that 18-pound juvenile. So taking a look here, for that $30 more, or $20 more rather, for that $20 more, we're getting a similar bike actually. There's a consideration to make, $20 for the Kink name versus the Cult name with single walled rims versus potentially the double walled match rims. I'm assuming they're double walled there. It's hard to argue against the value here. We are seeing real value in these bikes, and I guess it's a question of, do you want a steel frame or do you want an aluminum frame? Is the geometry something that you would want to take a look at? And if we could find that information, it looks like the geometry of this frame is here, so you may have to call Cult for the geometry. Doesn't look like they show it there. You may have to call Cult for the geometry on this bike, but it's amazing once again that there are options at this level in BMX today. I love seeing this. So the juvenile, good value. Let's move on to the next one. We have an 18-inch bike. There's two different colors, and this one is also called the juvenile. They're all called the juvenile below 20 inches. There's the black, all black everything, and the blue. Let's take a look at the specs on this one. Same aluminum frame. This one has an 18-inch flat top tube, short rear end, integrated headset, top load stem. The cranks on this one are 140 millimeters, sealed mid bottom bracket, Colt match rims, once again, 2.3 Colt Vans tires. Everything else appears to be exactly the same. For $400. Let's take a look at Kink's offering at $400. $400 exactly, once again. Interesting. So for the same price point, what are we getting? High 10 frame. 25 pounds is how much this bike weighs. This one weighs 21, so 4 pounds lighter again, and that is definitely something that will matter here. Integrated headset again. Chromoly cranks 152 millimeters. These ones are 140 millimeters. So there's sizing differences that come into play here, and I probably missed the sizing differences on previous bikes. If you're watching this now, go back and take a look at that and comparing them just to make sure that you're getting what is right. If the cranks are too long for your kid or whoever you're buying this bike for, it could definitely impact the way they ride it. The fact that it's heavier could impact it. Once again, we have the single-walled rims, unsealed and semi-sealed front and rear hub. So we're looking at a similar story here as the previous bike. The geometry is here once again as well, 18-inch flat top tube. It would be nice to know the Colt bikes or the Colt's frame geometry. Maybe you can call and find that out. But again, there's options to pick from here. And if I were pressed to make a decision between the 16 from Kink and the 16 from Colt, or the 18 from Kink and the 18 from Colt, the matched double-walled rims would be a huge deciding factor for me, as well as the weight difference. 4 pounds of weight difference has to play a huge role when it comes to people who are just building the strength to maneuver their bike around. That 4 pounds will probably play a huge part in that. So I think that that is something to consider, as well as the differences in crank length. If the cranks are too long or too short for the person you're buying them for, and the weight differences, it's just all things to consider whenever you're making the purchase, and good to be aware of. So I'm trying to make you aware of those things. So all in all, Colt's Complete bikes are a good value this year. I love to see it. They also have bigger bikes as well, so we got to take a look at those too. The Colt Devotion Cruiser, 26-inch. I think there's two versions there with black chrome and raw. Let's take a look at the black chrome. Can't get a great look at it, kind of just looks black. And there's the raw. Let's take a look at the black chrome. Chromoly frame, 100%. It's got the vintage style loop tail rear end, 100% chromoly fork, Began grips, forged salvation top load stem, integrated headset, nylon pedals, chromoly 175 millimeter 3-piece cranks, sealed mid bottom bracket, same chain, sealed front hub, sealed 10-tooth cassette hub, Colt match rims, once again assuming those are double walled, alloy sprocket, Colt Vans tires, 26, 2.10-inch size, and this bike is $570. So let's take a look at Kink's 26-inch bike. We're getting into territory here where the comparisons may not be as good to make, but they're here, so let's make them. We have $569 versus $599. Do we get anything more for that $30 extra? 100% chromoly frame, fork, and handlebars. We've got no mention of the handlebars here, so for $30 less, you may be getting a high 10 handlebar. Sealed, same cranks, integrated headset, Mission Mylar rims. I believe those are double walled. So 31 pounds. At this bike size, does weight matter that much? 30 pounds. I would say for $30 difference and getting high tensile steel bars, it's just a decision between Colt and Kink at that point, because you're probably not going to be like really riding this thing. And if you are, you may upgrade the handlebars anyways. But if you really are trying to ride this, then maybe getting the one with the chromoly handlebars would be good. But if you're just riding it around, it's a decision between the brand and the look and the color and those factors at that point, because they are super similar. What about the 29er? This is available in raw or black chrome again. Black chrome, Looks black, shiny black, I'm assuming. This one's got the blue, gray, and white camo tires, raw frame. It's got a 23.5-inch top tube length on it. Same chromoly frame, same chromoly fork. It's got the vintage loop style rear end, the same again. Same stem, same grips, integrated, same pedals. Heat treated chromoly cranks, again, sealed mid bottom bracket, same chain, sealed front female hub, sealed 14-tooth cassette hub, cult match rims, double walled, 30-tooth alloy sprocket, 29-inch, 2.10 size cult Vans tires, 990 U-brake, 32 pounds, $599. Do we have anything to compare this to on Kink's side? No, we don't. So this thing's kind of in its own territory, and if you're looking for a 29-inch bike, you're probably just cruising around. This is a cruiser bike. It's going to handle everything that you're going to throw at it. I don't know that the handlebars are chromoly. It doesn't say, so I'd assume that they're high tensile steel. So if you're going to be jumping this thing down like stairs or really going freestyle with it and taking impacts, you may want to upgrade the handlebars. But as far as everything else goes, it's all legit, and you can trust all of it to handle most what you're going to be doing with it, unless you're really going hard. So ultimately, everybody, Cult has a good value for this year. Cannot be argued. The prices are competitive. The features are competitive. They offer something for literally everyone. Bikes from 12 inches to 14 to 16 to 18 to 20 to 26 to 29, all at competitive prices with competitive feature sets. And that being said, good on you, Cult. I love to see this. So awesome. So you can safely say that if you're buying a complete bike from Cult in your price point, it will be competitive with other bike companies out there with the value that you're getting. So you can feel safe buying a Cult bike and that you're not going to be slighted or not get the value for your money. So that being said, I hope this helped you, and if it did and you're new here or you haven't yet, consider hitting the subscribe button down below so we can see you tomorrow for another video. Thank you for watching. Good stuff, Robbie and Cult, and we'll see you tomorrow for another video. Goodbye.